Hi guys, welcome back. We are continuing along with our knee series exercise videos, and today we're going to concentrate on more single leg exercises. So if you have gone through the previous videos on my knee series and you feel confident that you're able to tap into your external rotators of your hip socket, then feel great about moving on to this single leg work. If you are still struggling finding those muscles and tapping into them when called upon, then I would recommend that you stick with the previous videos of the sideline leg work, hip work, until you can really isolate those muscles and call on them when you need them. Because when we come up to standing, we have gravity and our body weight, that we're dealing with, and our bigger muscles want to turn on to work. And sometimes when our bigger muscles turn on, like our quads, our hamstrings, inner and outer thighs, glutes, when those muscles turn on, there are power muscles, and it doesn't allow our smaller rotation muscles to work or to turn on. So unless you have that body awareness of how to turn on those rotators and how to keep them on and keep them going with your movement, I suggest that you stay on the ground where you're not fighting a lot of gravity, you're not fighting your body weight, to really get those muscles working. The more we talk to those muscles, the more those muscles will start to turn on automatically, and we won't have to tell them to turn on all the time. So really important to start at the basics. It's kind of like going back to rehab, physical therapy, to turn on those muscles. And they're going to do wonders for you in your movement once you get those muscles working. So onward and upward, we are still working, like I said, with the rotation of our body, and I want you to think about rotation happening everywhere from your head to your toes, right? So we have rotation in our upper spine, our neck. We have rotation in our middle spine, thoracic. We have rotation in our lumbar spine. We have rotation in our hips. So if you're standing there, just put your hands on your hips and see how your hips can rotate back and forth, right? And notice how your spine is rotating with it. You even feel a slight rotation inside of those hip sockets, knees, shins, ankles, right? And so notice that you can keep your hips still, and you have rotation in your thigh bones. We've discussed this already, okay? Just know that it's there. We have rotation in our knee joint between our thigh bone and our shin. We have rotation in our ankle, and we even have little rotation, slight, but even in our feet and down to our toes. And so we really want to tap into all the rotators of our body, because oftentimes these are forgotten. They're smaller muscles, right? And we're so robotic with all of our movements for the most part throughout our day. And so we lose the ability to tap into those rotators, which then gives us an imbalance in our bodies and creates havoc, right? So knowing that we're going to be working through that rotation, I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind, and just with all the movements that you do, just think about it. How does rotation play in with the certain exercise that we're doing? And think rotation from head to toes, okay? And so let's just start warming up. Feet sit bone distance apart. And like I've said in other videos, the rotation of our shoulders is sometimes we're more able to understand that than in our pelvis. So let's just start with some simple arm circles, right? Nice and simple. And you can feel the rotation happening in your arm bones in the shoulder sockets. Okay, and you can make it a little bit bigger if you want to go all the way up and around. And just notice, I have a chair here in the way, I'm going to move over. And just notice in your own mind the rotation inside of your shoulder cuffs. Okay, we're standing nice and tall. Feel how free you feel. Okay, everybody's different with their shoulders. Maybe you feel one shoulder a little bit more stuck than the other. Just notice it. And now come down and just round your spine kind of in a slouch, sloppy position. And I want you to do those same arm circles. And we've done this in another video, so this isn't anything new, but I just want to start this way again. And notice how it's a little bit more of a challenge to get your arms all the way up to the sky. It's almost like you feel stuck in mud, right? And now let's go ahead and stack all the way back up tall and try that same arm circle and feel how open you feel. Feel the efficiency of the movement. Now, it's the same thing for our pelvis. If we're not in good alignment with our pelvis, it's going to be really hard to move our leg, right? It's going to be really hard to rotate our leg. So be sure that you're in good alignment down here when we're moving the legs. Otherwise, you're going to put constriction on that movement if we're in a sloppy form with our spine or our pelvis, okay? So just kind of think about that today as we move. And let's just warm up. So I have a chair here You don't have to use a chair, but I have it for support. You can use a wall or a countertop, whatever you have. Or if you're really balanced, you don't have to use anything as long as you feel really stable. We're just going to start with our feet sit bone distance apart, toes staring straight ahead. And one hand can be on the support, other hand is at your hip. Go ahead and lift your heels and then lower the heels. Do that again, lifting up and lowering down. So as you lift and lower, I want you just to look down every once in a while and just see if all 10 toes are still facing forward. And do you have equal pressure in all 10 toes, right? So we're not rolling to the pinkies. We're not putting only the pressure into the big toes. And some of us have really tight big toes because we have bunions or hammer toes, okay? And if that's getting in your way, I don't want you to roll out. I know it might be tight. Just make your range of motion less and only go up as high as you can, equal on both feet, equal in all 10 toes. So maybe you're only lifting to a hover and that's all you can go because of a tight big toe from a bunion. Okay, that's all right. As long as you're not rolling out, because once you continue to roll out like this, you're just creating a bad habit. Okay, and then over time, hopefully you can get further and further with that stretch through the big toe. Now go ahead and set your heels down and hold, or I should say stand nice and tall. Let's bend the knees and sink down into an imaginary chair. Your heels are down. It's the first probably squat of the day. So I want you to think about keeping your range of motion small so that your knees don't turn in and your knees don't turn out. Your arches don't collapse. Your toes are staring straight ahead. Just think of that form. Now, as you're here, let's think of your spine staying straight up and down. Okay. So we're not hinged forward. We're not tucking the tailbone, right? We're nice and neutral, shoulders draw down, and feel like your shoulder blades are just going to slide right down your body into your back pockets. And now from here, I just want you to go down 1 more inch and then come all the way up. Do that a couple more times, straight down and all the way back up. So we're going to start slow, just warming up the body. And I just want you to focus here on your form. Okay, it's not very hard. It's not, the coordination is pretty easy. Just think about your shoulders melting down, chest staying open. When you bend your knees, go straight ahead. Notice in your feet, are you collapsing your arches? Notice if you're clenching your toes. Notice if you have 60% of the weight in your heels. Can you feel your sit bones going straight down towards your heels? Okay, we're not tucking the pelvis, we're not leaning forward. We're going straight down an imaginary wall. Just slide down. Notice if your knees are turning in. Notice if your knees are turning out. Good. Just think of all that body awareness, right? Crown of the head to the sky. As you come down, your belly pulls in like you're catching yourself, like you're jumping, right? You're jumping off something, you're catching with the belly. So the belly is nice and active. Chest is melted. Good. Let's be here for 5 more. Sit bones straight down. Slide down that wall. 4. Exhale, scoop the belly, pull down for 3. Exhale, scoop and pull down 2. And now come down and hold on 1. Stay here. Now, are you equal in both legs? Some of us have a stronger side and we tend to lean to that side. Find equal weight in both legs, parallel with your legs, pull the belly in tight, get taller through the crown of the head, but reach your sit bones more towards the ground, maybe sinking down an inch more. Now from here, we're going to lift up just 1 inch. Go down 1 inch. Do that again, lift up 1 inch and down 1 inch. Keep it in control. It's just small little lift up and lower down. It's not fast. Up and down. I want you to feel like you're working through quicksand. So you're pulling through something thick air, right? It's not a bounce. It's with control. We have 5 and pull down. Up 4 and pull down. Notice if you started to clinch or add tension anywhere in your body that you don't need it. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. Come all the way up. Shake out the legs. Hands on the support if you need to. We're going to lift your heels up, bend your knees, come back down. We're still parallel. Check in with your toes. Make sure that all 10 toes are facing forward. Kneecaps are facing forward. Same rules apply. We're going to come all the way up and bend to come all the way down. Full range of motion, just warming up the thighs before we get into our single leg stuff. And so what I want you to think about here is when you come up, do you lock your kneecaps, right? So make sure that you're not snapping the back of the knee. Shoulders relax down. We have 5. Sliding down that imaginary wall for 4. Down for 3. Slide down for 2. Just check in with those knees. Make sure that they're not turning out or turning in. Last one, hold. Now staying here, don't lose your form. We're going to go down 1 inch, up an inch. Do that again, down an inch, up an inch. Are you rolling out on your pinky toes? Check in, make sure that your big toe is equal to your pinky toe as far as pressure to the floor. We're not clinching the toes. The heels are in line with your second toe. You're straight up and down with your spine. We are not leaning forward. Your shoulders are back, chest is open. Let's pulse down for 4, pulse down for 3, pulse down for 2, pulse down and hold on 1. Just hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7. Maybe you can lift your hands off your support for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come down, come all the way up. Set your heels down. We're now going to be in a turned out position. So first position, heels together, toes apart. And now remember what I said to you in other videos, we don't want to be so turned out that our ankles and toes are really turned out, but our knees and thighs aren't equal to that, right? Your knees and your thigh bones only have so much rotation. Your ankles and feet kind of have a little bit more. So don't over rotate the feet and ankles and under rotate the thighs, okay? So pull those feet closer in. And I want you to look down. It is literally a slice of a small pizza slice or piece of cheesecake, right? And now keep the heels down, one hand at your hip, one hand on your support. You're going to bend the knees, come down, hold. Okay, just look down. Can you see your 2 big toes? Okay, do you see all of your toes? If you do, you may be too turned out in the knees and not enough in the feet. Okay, now, or vice versa, maybe you don't see any of your toes. Maybe you don't even see your big toes. What that means is your feet are too turned out and your knees are too close. So can you line your kneecaps over your second toe, second and third toe? So you should still be able to see your big toes, right? Now lift your chin, roll your shoulders up, back and down. Heels are down. We're going to do full range of motion, squeeze to zip up, and then squeeze to press down. We're still working through that quicksand. And now, can you turn on your hip rotators? Because we're in a rotated position with our thigh bones. They're twisting out, right? So think about when we were on our sides on the floor, doing the clam, opening our knees kind of like a clamshell or a butterfly, right? So when you're in this position standing upright, can you still feel those rotators turn on? You're twisting out as you come down. Keep that twist out even as you come up, because we still need our knees in line with our second toes. Our feet are turned out, so our knees need to stay turned out. Our thigh bones need to stay turned out. So we are turned out the entire way, all the way up. Remember, if your feet are turned out, but your thigh bones are not, your knees are not, you're wringing out a wet washcloth right at your knee joint, right? That's torsion. Your shin bone is rotated one way, your thigh bone is rotating the opposite way. Remember that, because it's really important that you stay turned out equal with the feet, the ankles, the shins, the knees, the thigh bones, the hips, all the way up. Let's do 3 and all the way up. Down for 2 and all the way up. One more time, down and all the way up. Good, now come down and hold. Stay here. Pull the belly in, line up against that imaginary wall. Shoulders back, chest is open. Look down, make sure that you can see your 2 big toes. Okay, knees are in line with your second and third toe. Your thigh bones are turned out. Put your hands right on your underwear line, right back here. Okay, now squeeze. Think of rotating and opening those thighs. It's not a huge open, okay? So if you have somebody standing in the room next to you, they're not even going to see that you even moved your thighs at all. You're just engaging right back here at your underwear line. Pull the belly in. Hold for 10. Hold for 9. Hold 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up. Now from here, hand goes on a support. I'm going to face side again. We're in that same turned out first position. Lift your heels up and hold. Okay, roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Now from here, bend your knees, come down, and all the way back up, full range of motion. We're going to do a couple more like that. Come down, and all the way back up. Now as you come down, can you feel that turn out? And as you come up, can you feel that turn out? So you're zipping from your heels to your sit bones, the back side of the body to lift up. Down, like a zipper is right between your legs. Zip from your heels to your sit bones all the way up. Down, exhale, zip, squeeze up for 5. Down, exhale, squeeze, zip up for 4. Still in our warm up, just getting those legs warmed up before we do anything single leg. Exhale, zipping up for 3. Feel the external rotation as you zip up for 2. One more time. Now come down and hold. Stay there. Now put one hand on your underwear line, just pick a side. And now both sides, both legs are going to open back like a clam. Open back. Feel those rotation, those rotators right back here, open. Like a little butterfly wing, right? You're pressing back. We're not releasing a ton, we're just pressing back. Getting deep into that hip socket, just like we did when we were lying on the ground on the side, right? Think of that clam motion. Press back 5, press back 4, press back 3. I'm starting to lose my breath. Press back 2, press back 1 and hold. Now we're gonna pulse down an inch, up an inch, but don't release this, right? So as you go down, you're pressing back a little bit. Down and press back a little bit. It's very small. Down and press back. Down and open. At the same time, you go down and open the thighs. Last 5. Down and open for 4. Down and open for 3. Down and open for 2. Down and open last 1. Come all the way up, set your feet down, kick it out. So you should have felt those rotators. If you didn't feel them at all, maybe go back to a earlier video where we're down on their sides and go back into those clams. Get those muscles working before you progress on, okay? So we're gonna do a little single leg work. We're gonna have you standing facing your support. Feet sit bone distance apart. Straight spine. Hands at your hips. Can you hinge forward, right? Both legs stay down to start. Hinge straight back up. Notice your flat back. And now I have a mic box here, so it might not look like I'm completely flat in that low back, but I am, okay? And come right back up. We don't want to lock the knees, so don't jam your knees back. Soften them, hinge right at your hips. You should feel that hinging, right? So you can put your fingertips right at your hip joints, right where the crease would be, and hinge, kind of squeezing your fingertips, and then come right back up. Now let's round down. So reach your arms in front of you, tuck the chin to the chest, soften your knees, scoop the belly. You're gonna round down one vertebra at a time, reaching your fingertips all the way down to the ground, letting the chin tuck to the chest, and then softly, keeping your knees soft, bend at the knee joint, start to roll through the low back, middle back, upper back, shoulders roll back, head comes up. We're gonna do that one more time. We're articulating down, melting the shoulders, melting the chest, melting through each vertebra as you roll down. Knees are facing straight ahead. Be sure you're still parallel, but they're soft. Stay down here for an inhale. Exhale, tuck the tail. Keep your knees slightly bent. Scoop the belly to the spine as you roll up one vertebra at a time. Good, so that was articulation. Notice the difference. Put your hands back at your hip crease and hinge. This is not articulation. This is a hinge. Your back stays straight, right? You're creasing, you're hinging right at your hip joint, and you come right back up. I need you to notice the difference before we go into single leg stuff. So as you hinge forward, right, we're in a flat spine. Now squeeze your sit bones. This is what pushes you back up, and this pushes you back up. Butt and core. So hinge forward, squeeze your sit bones, feel like your belly is pushing you back up against that imaginary wall. Your seat is pushing your hips forward. Now from here, I want you to reach right foot back, left foot forward. So we're gonna do some lunge work. You are sit bone distance apart, parallel, okay? You can hold on to your support. The only thing is if you're too far away from your support, I don't want you to lean. Okay, so come up closer so that you can stay tall, elbows can stay relaxed, shoulders down, and you want a pretty wide stance here. So I don't want you here because once we come down, you're gonna be really unstable, really wiggly. It's kind of scary stepping back a far distance, but I want you to trust yourself and hold on to that support if you need it, but I need a really wide stance here so that when you come down into a lunge, you are at a 90-degree here, an angle, and pretty much a 90-degree back here. Okay, your knee doesn't have to touch the ground. In fact, I would ask that it doesn't touch the ground, but you're gonna go down towards the ground and then come right back up. Good. Now your hip bones are facing straight ahead. Sometimes we're a little bit tight, and when we come down, the hips turn and twist. Okay, remember that rotation. Keep them straight ahead and come all the way back up. We're gonna do that again. Coming straight down and all the way back up. Thinking about going down with your back knee. This front leg is automatically gonna bend. So don't put your mind on the front leg, put your mind on the back leg and think of that kneecap going down towards the ground and right back up. This back thigh is gonna go down like a fence post right into the dirt and then come right back up. If you wanna put your hands at your hips, that will keep you up taller with your spine, right? Versus leaning forward to the support. I don't want you leaning forward. I want you to be up against that imaginary wall. We're going to come down for 5 and up. Pull the belly in as you come down. 4. You'll feel a stretch in the front of the thigh. Come down for 3 and up. Down for 2 and up. One more time, come down and hold. Yes, we're holding. Now make sure that you're not clenching your toes in that front foot. Okay, now your heels, both heels, your front heel's in line with your second toe. The back heel is in line with your second toe. So look at my foot and look at your foot. Make sure it's not turning in and make sure it's not turning out. Okay, you're nice and parallel from the heel to the second toe to the knee, right? All the way up to the hip. Now from here, I know we're holding. You can do it though. Pull the belly in. We're going to go down 1 inch, up 1 inch, down 1 inch, up 1 inch. Pull the low belly in, down and up. How tall can you be with the spine, with the crown of your head? We're going down for 6. Push this back thigh bone down like a fence post right into the dirt for 4. Down for 3. Down for 2. Last 1, come all the way up, step it forward, shake it out. We're going to stay on that same side, so be sure that you don't switch sides here. Stay on that same side, step back a little bit from your support. Fingertips just barely touch your support. Left foot is going to stay forward, right foot is going to be back. You're on the back toes. Our back foot is not flat. I don't want all the weight in the back leg. I want all the weight in the front leg. Back leg is just acting as a kickstand. And now let's get back to our hinge. Remember when we hinged, we were not rounding, right? So you're creasing that hip, right? Lean forward and then squeeze your left glute, pull the belly in, come back up tall. Think about that. Lean forward. The standing knee is your left leg. It's soft, the kneecap. Squeeze your left glute, pull the belly in tight to come all the way up tall. This back leg is just there as a kickstand. Lean forward. Squeeze your back glute, pull the belly in, stand up tall. Good. 3 more times. Lean forward. Pull the belly in, squeeze your butt to push your hips forward to stand up tall. 2 more times. Lean it forward. Exhale, squeeze. Keep your standing kneecap soft. 1 more time, lean forward and hold. Okay, now just hold here. You can hold on to your support. Find that straight spine. Reach your left hip back behind you. Now, check in with your standing left leg. Is the kneecap turning in? Does your arch collapse? Are you clenching your toes? Does your thigh bone twist in? Now we know where those hip rotators are. So if you're turning in on this left leg, if you're collapsing in at the arch, if your kneecap is turning in, if your thigh bone is twisting in, tap into those rotators, right? At the thigh, tap into it and try to twist so that you are back to parallel. Now hold here. We're going to lift that back leg up and tap down. We're holding onto the support. You lift up and tap down. I'm falling over on you. Lift up and tap down. Now, keep your standing leg soft and notice when the back leg lifts up, does anything funky happen with that standing leg? Does it turn in? Does it turn out? Do you roll into the big toe? Roll into the arch? Okay, try to find your nice alignment, parallel. The toes are facing straight ahead. We didn't change the position of the foot. The knee is staring straight ahead. It's soft. It's not locked, right? And your hip is in line with hip, okay? We're going to do 2 more, lifting that back leg and lower it down. 1 more time, lift the back leg and lower it down and come all the way back up. Shake out the shoulders. We're going to stay on this leg, okay? Step back a little bit further. We're still in this staggered stance position. Now, option is to keep that back leg down as a kickstand like we just did, okay? So come up on the toes and the back leg, front leg is soft. Reach your arms out. We're going to hinge forward again. Like I said, option is to keep this leg down and then come right back up. Other option is to put all the weight on your front leg, all of it, 100%. The back toes are barely touching the mat. You're going to tip forward like a teeter-totter. Find that support. Now squeeze your butt, pull the belly and come all the way back up tall. Makes it a lot more of a challenge. Now if you're losing your balance, I don't want you to shift your foot around. Stay parallel with the foot. That's your support, right? Can you tap into your rotators of your leg to stay in a parallel position with your standing leg, right? And all the way back up. So just in your own body, go slow. The slower you go, the better. We don't want to just drop down with gravity. We want to control it down and control it up. When you come down, check in with your arch. Is it collapsing? Check in with your kneecap. Is it turning in or turning out? Check in with your thigh bone. Is it rotating in or rotating out? What is going on with your body? Okay. Now, can you correct it by tapping into the rotators? So if you're twisting in, engage the lateral rotators, right? It's not about moving your foot. It's about engaging right up by the hip socket. That is a part of your core, right? Keep that kneecap facing forward. Keep it soft. Let's do 4 more. Tipping forward. Pull the belly in to lift all the way back up. Last 3. Pull the belly in. Squeeze your glute to come up tall. Last 2. And when you come up, your back toe is just tapping down. It's not pulling all the way underneath you. It's just tapping down, right? It's like a teeter-totter. Tap the back toes down. You're not transferring the weight. You're just tapping it down. Now come down and hold. You can stay at your support. Squeeze that back right leg. Find a long, straight spine. Soften your standing knee. Don't move the foot. Keep it parallel. Keep the knee soft. Find those rotators to keep your thigh parallel. Can you lift your hands off the support? Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7. Just bring your mind to that standing leg. What is it doing? 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up and rest. Shake it out for a little stretch. You're going to place your left standing leg, that ankle, over the right knee and just sit back into a chair. And that's going to feel really nice. And just take a deep breath. So half the battle is just body awareness. So slowing it down is really going to help you to bring your mind to the muscles and bring your mind to your imbalances. We all have them. I have them too. The question is can we correct them? And so when we get into a class and it's moving really fast, we don't fall into our old habits because we've already done it slow here with you and I, so that we can progress into tapping into the right muscles, so that subconsciously when we're in class going really, really quick, they just turn on and they work for you properly, therefore helping to prevent future injuries. Okay, so we got to do that all to the other side. So the right foot steps forward, left foot steps back. And I have to remember what we did. So from here, hands can either be at your hips, remember, or at your support. Just make sure that you're not so far from your support that you have to be hinged over. So if you need to come up a little bit closer to just gently rest your fingertips on, let's do that so you can be up nice and tall. And let's start with lunging down, full range of motion, and all the way up. And know that the goal is to get into a 90-degree bend with this front knee. If you can't go that low, if you have some knee tenderness or maybe some limitations, that's okay. I'd rather you go at your own range of motion than push it too much, okay? And the goal, again, is not to get that back knee to the ground. It's just to bend the back knee. So can you start by bending the back knee? The front knee is just going to follow. It's going to respond from the back knee bending, right? So don't worry too much about that front leg, other than that the toes are relaxed, right? You're standing into that front heel. When you come up, can you squeeze your glutes to lift? Down, shoulders back and down, up for 5. Inhale straight down, exhale just like an elevator, lift up 4. Inhale down, exhale up for 3. Hip in line with hip, down, exhale, pull the belly and lift 2. One more time, come all the way up. Now we're going to come down and hold. Make sure that you're equal on the back toes, big toe to little toe. Come down, find a spot that you're comfortable with holding. Make sure that you didn't tuck. Okay, you're in a nice straight spine, chest is open, you're not leaning forward. You're engaging your back left leg. The glute, the hamstring, you should feel the quad. You're in the front heel, you should be able to wiggle your front toes around. Just holding here, make sure that you're not hiking one hip up. Both hips are equal, lots to think about. Holding for 5, holding for 4, 3, 2, and on 1, we're gonna pulse down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch. Now make sure that when you pulse, your knee doesn't turn in or turn out on either side. So we're not twisting the front knee in, we're not letting the front knee twist out. Same with that back leg. You're equal in all 5 toes. So make sure that your heel of that back leg isn't turning out or turning in. Go straight down and up like an elevator. We're here for 6. Pulse down for 5. I know we're feeling it. Pulse down 4. You can do it. Pulse down 3 with control. No bouncing. Pulse down 2. Find that parallel position with your legs. Last one. Come all the way up. Step it forward. Shake it off. Shake out the shoulders, shake out the hips. We're gonna stay on that same side. So the right foot stays forward, left foot comes back, but we're gonna come back from our support just a little bit further. Hands at your hips. Now from here, we're in a staggered position. Both legs are gonna stay straight. We're not gonna bend the knees anymore. They're gonna be soft, but straight. Remember that crease at your hip joint. We wanna lean forward with the flat back, and then you lift all the way up. You find your range of motion that works best for you. If you go too far, you might notice that you start to collapse and round the spine. So make sure that you only go in the range of motion that you can stay parallel with your legs and neutral with your spine. So let's talk about that parallel with the legs. And you can definitely use your support, right, with your hands. When you lean forward and up, notice if that right thigh bone tends to turn in, it collapses in, or maybe it turns out. What is your knee doing? Is a knee turning in or turning out? Is your arch of your foot collapsing, right? Can you keep the arch light? Can you keep your toes light? We're not clinching. Find that straight spine, get your tailbone to lift up to the sky, right? Let's do that again. Lean forward and just hold. Check your posture. The front knee is soft, we're not locked, we're in a straight spine, shoulders down, knit the front of the ribs so we're not overarching the back. Holding for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, come all the way back up. Now we're gonna start to lift that back leg. So let's move back just a little bit further. We're gonna come forward to a lean and hold, same exact position that we're in before. Now put more of the weight or all the weight in your front right leg, but keep that knee soft, hips in line, hips are equal, hip in line with hip. Lift that back leg up and tap it down. Do that again, lift up and tap it down. Now notice when that back leg lifts up, what happens to your pelvis? Do you shift it to the right? Okay, keep the hip bone right in line with your heel. Okay, when you lift that back leg up, do you notice that your thigh bone twists in? Do you notice that your knee twists in? And remember, you can be up here. You don't have to be all the way down. Maybe you do have that flexibility, that range of motion to be down here. That's fine as long as you're keeping your belly in and your ribs in. Good. Lifting up for 5 and tap down. Lift up for 4 and tap down. Lift up for 3. Feel those hip muscles. Lift up 2. We're feeling it all on the right leg. Lift up last 1. Good. And then set it down. All the way up. Shake it off. We're going to take it one step further. Step back a little bit further from your support. Right leg is still forward. Left leg is back. Now we started with that lean. Legs stay straight. We hinge forward. We lean forward, right? You can continue with that, keeping your back foot down as a kickstand. That's great to start there if you're feeling a little shaky. So just keep going with that. In time, what you're going to do is go into a full seesaw or teeter-totter. All the weight's going to be in your front right leg. Wiggle your toes, soften your knee. Start to come up on that back leg, so just your big toe is touching, so barely any weight is in that back leg. Reach the arms forward. We are going to tip forward, grab onto that support, and then come right back up. Your toe is just going to tap down lightly. So you're not going to pull the foot right back underneath you. You're going to keep it back behind you. Do that again, lean forward. This is my tricky side. My right side is my tricky side. I tend to always turn out on my right leg. So right here, I'm feeling unstable. So what I want to do is turn my foot out. But I know that that's not the right position. I'm not going to allow myself to do it. Keep the toes facing straight ahead. Tip forward, okay? And then come right back up. Now, my leg is fixed. I know to keep my thigh fixed. I know to keep my knee fixed and my toes fixed so that I don't do anything funky with the thigh. But remember, every part of our body has the ability to rotate. Remember I said that in the beginning? So I'm going to face you and show you what happens when I'm used to turning out, but now my leg is fixed in a parallel position. Here's what my body wants to do. If you can watch me as I tip forward, I want to turn my body this way. And if you can see my leg is turned out now because I rotated my upper body in. So now I'm in this rotated, turned out position with this right leg. That's my comfortable position. That's my habit that I formed. But I know better than that, so I'm going to pull myself back to parallel. Oops, see, I'm already losing my balance. I'm pulling myself back to parallel, keeping my leg parallel, keeping my body parallel so that my hips are in line with my heels. I'm not allowing my body to turn out, okay? So you guys are probably yelling at me, telling me to continue because you're still doing your exercise, right? Tipping forward and down. So now on this last one, I'm gonna have you tip forward and just hold and check in with your own body, right? Make sure that your whole body is parallel. We're not rotating at any part of our body from our toe to our head. And then come all the way up and shake it off. Nice job. Let's stretch with the chair stretch. So right ankle over left knee and just sit back into a chair. Good, taking a deep breath. Nice work, you guys. Go ahead and stand all the way up. We're gonna do a little outer thigh work next. So stand facing straight ahead, feet sit bone distance apart, finding that parallel stance again. One hand at your support, one hand at your hip. You can walk away from your support a little bit. We're gonna put all the weight onto the left leg, keep the knee soft. Reach the right leg out directly to your side. So it's not forward of your body and it's not behind your body. It's right out to the side. Now, can you stay parallel with that standing leg, knee facing straight ahead, and just do a little lift of that right leg, a little lift up. Your hand is being placed at your hip, your pelvis. I was trying to say the two together. Hand at the hip, hand at the pelvis, whatever you want to call it. Keep the pelvis still and stretch that right leg longer to lift it up. Stretch out of the hip. So we don't want to move the hip. I'll show you what that looks like. So when we move the leg, the whole hip moves, right? So now we're just moving our spine versus moving the actual thigh bone. Okay, so keep your hips still and just lift the thigh bone. Check in with that standing leg. The kneecap is soft. It's in line with your second toe. We have 10, lift 9, lift 8. Feel that upper outer thigh. You get the right muscles moving when you keep the pelvis still, right? And just move the leg. And are you parallel in that right leg? Is the kneecap and toe is staring straight ahead? Let's lift 3, lift 2, lift 1 and hold. Now little ups for 10, 9, 8. Don't just bounce it. Use the muscle. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it on 1. Are you able to lift your arms off of the support? Where did your kneecap go? I need to rebalance myself. See, no, we're not perfect here. Now keep your toes straight ahead, kneecap straight ahead. Keep the knee soft, holding 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Did you feel your own imbalances in your leg try to hold you in a certain position, right? Or try to move you back into a certain position? It's good to know, good stuff. And know that nobody's perfect. We always, we're gonna have them balances. Let's try the other side. So the right knee is soft, your left leg is out, you can hold the support, hip in line with hip. We're gonna just lift the leg up and back down. Lift up and back down. And just notice in your own body what that right knee is doing. Does it wanna turn in? Are you putting more pressure in your big toe? Are you putting more pressure in your little toe? Is your arch collapsing? Are you parallel on both legs? So the kneecap of that left leg is still staring forward, right? We're not turned out here. Let's lift 10 and down. Lift 9, stay tall through the crown of the head. 8 and down. Up 7, it's not about a huge range of motion because I want your waistline to stay long. So think of taking out all the wrinkles in your waist. Nice long stretched waistline. Let's lift 3 and down. Lift 2 and down. Lift and hold. Stay there. Find your balance. Make sure that that thigh bone is parallel. Knee is parallel. Pulse 10, 9, 8 with control. 7, up 6, up 5. It's small. Up 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold here. Lift those arms up away from that support if you can. Be very careful that your hips do not rotate backwards or overly forward with that left hip. Bring it in line. You're in between two panes of glass. You're holding here nicely and rest. Nice job. Shake it out. Okay, we're going to finish up with our final one and standing straight ahead, parallel. Hand can rest on your support. We've done a lot of hamstring work, right? The back of the thigh. We did some outer thigh. Now we're going to balance you out with working the front of the thigh, your quads. So place one hand at your hip, one hand on your support. Let's start by balancing on your left leg, and your right leg is going to reach forward. Okay, we're still parallel. Your left knee is soft, right? We're not locked. The right leg is super straight. Pull the belly in tight, get nice and tall. You're going to lift your right leg up and tap it back down. Do that again, lift up and tap it back down. The goal is when we lift, we don't round the spine. So it's not about how high you can lift, right? Because if I lift past my range of motion, I'm going to start to round the low back and round the pelvis. So you want to make sure that you're only lifting to the height that you can stay tall and neutral in your spine and pelvis. And when we first start, you might notice that your range of motion might be down here, right? Because we did a lot of hamstring work, so it's pretty tight back there. And the more we do this, the more able we are to get a fuller range of motion because that hamstring is letting go, it's releasing. We're kind of giving our own body a stretch by engaging the front side of the leg now. And we're going to be here for about 5 more. I want you to check in with that standing leg. The knee is soft, the toes are relaxed, your arch is light. Your right hand is at your hip to make sure that the right hip isn't hiking up. So let's lift and hold, okay? Soften that standing supported leg. This right hip might want to lift up here, but lengthen your waistline. Keep hip bone in line with hip bone. Keep hip in line with hip forward and back too, right? We don't want to jet that right hip forward. Stay up against that imaginary wall. We're going to pulse up 10, pulse up 9, just the thigh bone moves, 8. Pulse up 7, feel that thigh bone move inside of your hip socket. 6, pulse up 5, pulse up 4, lift up 3, pull the belly in, stay tall 2, hold it on 1, bend your right knee so it's soft, wiggle your toes, circle out your foot. We're now going to worry about the left leg more than that right leg. Right leg is just going to stay here. Let's bend your left knee and hold. Can you keep your nice tall neutral spine so we didn't tuck? We're going to bend an inch more and come up an inch, down an inch, up an inch. As we pulse that standing left leg, can you keep your hip in line with hip? So don't let the right hip turn back. Don't let the right hip turn forward, right? Also, don't let the right hip hike up. I gave you a lot of don'ts. I shouldn't be doing that. Just think of pulsing, keeping your whole body nice and tall and neutral. We're going to pulse for 5. Pulse for 4, the weight is in your heel. Pulse for 3, kneecap going straight ahead over your second toe. Last one, and come all the way up and rest. Shake it out. Give yourself a little quad stretch before we get to the other side. Good, just stretching that right leg back. Tuck your pelvis a little bit here and feel that stretch deepen right in the front of your hip right here. Good, and then switching sides, right foot comes down. Parallel to begin, so let's start in a good position. Reach that left leg out. Soften your standing right knee, so you're just bending it a little bit. Tailbone back behind you. You're going to lift the left leg up and tap down. Lift up and tap down. Remember, go at your range of motion. It might be down here. That's okay. As long as you're not rounding and tucking the tailbone underneath you. Feel a stretch in the hamstrings as you lift up. Feel the left side of the waist stay long, right? Pull the belly in. You have a string at the crown of your head holding your spine up tall like a puppet. Lift up 8, tap it down. Lift up 7 and down. Lift up 6. Light on that support. Make sure that you're relying on your leg, your standing leg, your core. 4, lift up 3, lift up 2, and hold it up on 1. Make sure that your knee is soft. Look down. Make sure that your right knee is in line with your second toe. And I know this is my side that I want to turn that foot out. Keep the foot parallel. I'm reminding myself. Keep the knee soft. Hold that leg up there. Pull the belly in. How tall can you get? We're almost done with this exercise, with this workout actually. Now let's pulse the left leg up an inch. Pulse up an inch. As you pulse up, it's with control. The thigh bone is moving inside of your hip socket. The hips are not moving. Lifting up. Pull the belly in. Your goal is to not tuck that tailbone. Keep a nice tall neutral spine. Let's lift for 5. Lift up 4. Lift up 3. You're almost there. 2 and 1. Bend your left knee. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the ankle, right? Keep it lifted. Now bend your right knee, come down. Check in with your pelvis. Make sure you didn't tuck. Find that neutral spine. We're going to bend down with that right knee 1 more inch and up an inch. We're in that mid-level, right? We're not coming all the way up with the straight leg. We're at that mid-level, just pulsing up and down an inch with control. Waistline stays long. The knees bend straight ahead. Don't let it turn in. Don't let it turn out. Find your form. We're almost there, you guys. 8, down for 7, you're doing good, down for 6, pull the belly in, 5, find that tall spine, 4, keep it small, keep it controlled, 3, last 2, and 1, come all the way up, rest, shake it out, kick out the feet, let's stretch that left quad, just pulling the heel to your butt, opening up here by giving a little tuck of your tail now, so you'll feel a bigger stretch right in the front of the leg if you give a little posterior tilt of the pelvis. Pull the knee right underneath you so that your knees and thighs are parallel again. You're going to dream about parallel legs, I know you are. And just take a deep breath and then release, shake it all out, give yourself a big shoulder roll, circle out the ankles. So I threw a lot at you today. You can definitely cut this video that we did into 2 if you're feeling like that was a little bit too much single leg in one workout. So you can cut it into 2. Please feel free to redo it. Please feel free to go back to the basics of us on the ground so that you can truly tap into those rotators. If you have any questions, let me know. And just know, as I let you go, just know that all the stuff that I threw at you today, all those cues, it may not resonate with you, each one, and it doesn't have to. I kind of just keep spitting stuff out until one thing sticks, and if that thing sticks, go with it. And then maybe another video I'll throw something else out, and that really works well. Go with the analogy that works for you, and then as you repeat these videos, maybe one cue that you heard on this video when you watched it a month ago doesn't make any sense in your body, but then when you repeated the video, it's like, oh, I get that now. So don't overwhelm yourself with everything that I'm throwing at you at once. I know it's a lot of information. It's good information, and that's why you should know that you can come back and rewatch and redo at any time. All right, thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.